Hello, hello. It's the Happy and Healthy with Kerry show. Super excited to be here with you this Monday morning. And I just led a one-day retreat. It was on Saturday, and it was a bonus retreat for my active clients. And I did it just because the end of the year, it's like there's just it's just busier, there's more stuff, there's more responsibilities, things on the to-do list, and it's really easy to put yourself on the back burner or even just get caught up in just surviving versus thriving, right? As you end the year and get through the holidays, end the year and set yourself up for the new year. And so what we did is I gifted them an extra day with me. It was a bonus retreat on Saturday. It was virtual. And the whole theme that we went into was going the extra mile. And what does that extra mile look like? What does it look like? What it looks like for one person is different than what it's going to look like for somebody else. But what does that extra mile even mean? So it's that putting in that next little tiny bit of effort that can actually create really big results. And let's say this is a goal that you have, maybe about getting into the best shape of your life, right? And here's where most people stop. This is their threshold at about 70, maybe 80%. 80 would be really good. But let's say most people stop at like 70 to 80% of the way to their goal is normal, research shows, right? And we call that the threshold. So once you start to hit this place where it's your threshold, it's where you're used to succeeding up to, but not past that. And once you hit that threshold, it'll be really easy to go back into the old patterns or the old ways of being and not close this gap between the 70 to 80% to the 100%. And then wonder, well, why did it never work for me? Or why does it always feel difficult? Or why is that goal, that being in the best shape of my life, why is it always just out of reach? Right? And so what we were talking about over the weekend was once you get up and you hit up against this threshold, once you hit up against that threshold, what does it take? What does it take to close this gap, to start moving and living in this space? The space between 70 and 100%. What does it take to live between that space? Because what can happen, and what I've noticed for a lot of people, is that real success actually starts at that threshold, right? Success really does start to shape you, like that going the extra mile really starts to shape you into a confident, strong, empowered, powerful woman. And that's going to feel stretchy sometimes. That's not going to be in your comfort zone. That's going to stretch you out of what you usually know. And so success, you could say, starts at that extra mile. Like you work really hard, you do what you know to do, you get to where you're used to getting, and then you stretch yourself again into that extra mile. And because of that, and it doesn't usually have to take a huge amount of extra effort, and that's where a lot of people stop because they think it is going to take a huge amount of extra effort, but it doesn't necessarily need to. And once you start to get into that space, a little bit of extra effort, it might be more than a little, it depends on what the goal is, but that little bit of extra effort actually can create massive results that you wouldn't have gotten if you had stopped right when you hit your threshold, right? So that extra mile is this space that we can live into, and we can start to go for that extra mile and feel excited about it. See it as an opportunity, right? And the universe is always wanting to open up opportunities for us. And what we get to do is we get to open ourselves up to opportunity. What's next? What's possible? For example, last week I shared that on the same day, our nanny gave us notice and my husband totaled one of our cars. We've had quite a few people actually who have reached out that I didn't even know watched this show and asked about, well, is your husband okay? So thank you so much for everybody who's watching, even if I don't know that you're watching. And that was great feedback for me, so I really appreciate that. And he's fine. Everybody's fine. He was sore for like a day. He's fine though. The car is not fine, but he's fine. And we started a new nanny this morning. So that's interesting, right? So it's been a big, big morning. And what's happening with the new nanny right now is going to take me going that extra mile, right? She's going to need extra attention. The babies are at an age now where they're aware that that's a stranger, and so it's a new kind of transition than when they were really young. It's a totally different kind of transition. It's a bit stressful, right? But who do I get to be? Who does the nanny get to be? Who do we get to be as we create that space for the twins? Who do we get to be as we create that? And that's going to stretch us a little bit into our extra mile, right? Because it's not comfortable, and it's stretching the twins into their extra mile, right? They're transitioning, they're growing, they're in a space right now where they are uncomfortable because this is new. We don't know this person well. Who is this person? And so it's really stretchy in our household right now, right? This morning is a very stretchy morning. And by putting in that extra effort, like I'm going to be spending a lot of time training her today and doing all that. And by putting in all that extra effort, what gets to happen is we get to reap huge rewards. But that doesn't happen if we quit too soon. It's actually a great example. I didn't think about using that example, but I think it's a great example. So the universe is sending us opportunities all the time that feel stretchy, that push us outside of our comfort zone, that have us go, do I really want to do that? Is it worth the time? Is it worth the effort? Those opportunities are coming at us all the time. Now, most humans are wired, our brains are wired to not like change. And we equate change with pain. So when we start to move into foreign territory, our brains like to go, danger, 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 right? Because it's just uncertain. Where the space we're moving to is uncertain. But it doesn't need to equate to danger, danger, danger if you get the mindset shift that, okay, what if this wasn't dangerous? What if this was just not what I'm used to? But in this space of not being in this place of not being in a space of what I'm used to, what can open up here? Because the universe is opening up opportunities for us all the time. Like, for example, the nanny. Our 6-year-old really likes her, right? So that's a new opportunity for us to have somebody that our 6-year-old really likes and enjoys, and will kick a soccer ball around with him and, do stuff with him. So that's an added bonus that we didn't have before, but it's taken going through this process, which is uncomfortable, for us to create an extra win. So where in your life is there a goal that you have? And this would be a great time to look at this as we wrap up the year. Let's end this year strong. Let's set you up to really win in the new year, and look at what do you want to commit to in regards to even just ending this year strong. What do you want to commit to? And what is your current threshold on that? Where is your 70% on that, where you might start to pull back or retract? You might start to, procrastinate or check out, escape, numb out, maybe alcohol, maybe smoking, maybe food, maybe social media. What is that? Let's identify it. Let's raise our awareness around it. And then you get the opportunity, you don't have to do this, but you get the opportunity to choose to show up differently in that space and get past your threshold. Let's say it's about, if it is about getting in the best shape of your life, maybe you make a commitment for the rest of this year, which is only 2 weeks. The rest of this year that you exercise 4 days a week, you get your heart pumping enough so that if you were talking to a girlfriend, it would be hard to talk to her because your heart rate is up, right? And that's an easy way to track if you're getting a sweat on. And so let's say for the next 2 weeks, you give yourself a goal, and obviously you're not going to get into the best shape of your life in 2 weeks, but this is a kickstart. This is just a kickstart. This is a jump start to get you on track for 2022 if that's your goal. And so maybe you don't exercise right now. And so to say that you're going to exercise 4 days a week for the next 2 weeks is stretchy for you. And so, or maybe you exercise twice a week right now, and that's your 70%, and you're going to double that by 50%. So now you're going into that extra mile. What are you going to eat? What are your portion sizes? Are you hydrating? How are you sleeping? What is the exercise you're choosing to do that's appropriate for your constitution or your body type? Strength training with a combination of maybe strength training, so cardio and strength, right? You get to figure that piece out, and then you get to be intentional about it with the follow through. It's not enough to just have the plan, but what you want to do is you want to breathe life into that plan, or else the plan falls flat, right? So this is a great and exciting time. We have 2 weeks left of this year, which is so exciting. We actually celebrated an early Christmas last night in our house because we are going to Michigan in a week and a half to my in-laws. So my mom came over last night. She came into town. She came over. My sister's family came over. And we haven't even had time to get a tree. And with the twins, actually, it'd probably be a nightmare. So we just decorated one of our house trees, and we put the presents under that, and we had a beautiful dinner, and we opened gifts, and we spent time with our loved ones, and so we get 2 Christmases. So we've had a really fun Christmas start already last night, and the end of the year is here, right? The end of the year is here. So who do you want to be? What is that extra mile for you? Where do you usually stop your threshold? And let's look at that extra mile from here to here. Go ahead and post below. Let's get a level of commitment going there and accountability. And I can't wait to support you. I'll see you soon. And have fun with this piece. Bye.